what I want to share in this video, like we spoke about, is the psychology, is the mindset, is the mentality that's needed to break free. And so it all comes down to this one magic word, this one magic key word known as identity. So if you're making notes right now, right, have identity as the big title on your page. And so the reason why this is such a big theme, and this is why this is the foundation of for example, I do coaching, right? I help the brothers through coaching. And the first thing we go through from the first session is identity. It's who you believe you are when you look in the mirror. Because there's two different identities, there's two different mentalities. So for example, let's look at the brother now that has been addicted for 10 years, for 20 years. He has the mindset of being a defeatist. He has the mindset of being negative, of being a pessimist, losing hope in Allah, astaghfirullah. Someone who believes that he can't do, he can't put his mind to anything and actually accomplish things, right? And so from the get-go, someone who doesn't believe that he will break free, what do you think is going to happen? And so if we look at the second type of brother, the one who's not an addict, he is someone who is positive, someone who has insane trust and hope in Allah, someone who's an optimist, right? And so the whole idea is, how do we go from brother A to brother B? I can use an example now. For example, brothers might complain that there's too much fitna in the West, there's too much fitna around, there's too many girls walking the streets, they're not wearing enough clothes. I scroll on social media and I see provocative women. What could I possibly do, Mohsin? What can I do? And so when we talk about identity and who you believe you are, we want to become the type of men who, if we are in a room full of women, for example, let's say we are in a room full of 100 women and they're all naked, we need to become the men that don't blame the women. We need to blame ourselves, and we need to hold ourselves accountable, and we need to lower our gaze. We need to make sure that we are not tempted. Yeah, it's all on us. You have to understand this. Till the end of time, there will always be women. I mean, even from the start of time, even from the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there will always be women. So it's no good to start blaming the external. We have to look internally. Yeah. And so when it comes to identity, when it comes to mentality of breaking free from this addiction, I want to use an example, a real life example. And this is also the reason why brothers may go to Umrah for 2 weeks. They might go for a month, and they come back and they didn't relapse the whole time over there. But when they come back, they fall straight back into it. Why is that? Why did the 30-day streak, and I hate that word, by the way, why did that streak end up being sort of fragile? Why did they go back to the same lifestyle? And the reason why is because they haven't changed who they are fundamentally. You have to understand this point, because it doesn't matter if you do the cold showers, it doesn't matter if you spend 1 year on Mars, if you delete your social media, if you have blockers on your phone, if you do all of these tips and tricks, if you don't change who you are as a person, it doesn't matter. And so this is why my clients, this is why they have the lifelong freedom. So let's use an example now, right? To really bring the point home. Let's imagine two brothers. The first type of brother, he is a very skinny guy, a very scrawny guy. He's undisciplined. He doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't take care of himself. He doesn't watch his calories. He eats snacks all day. We said he's lazy. He's someone who goes to sleep late. Someone who wakes up late. Someone who's got no ambition in life, right? So the skinny guy. And so we got the second brother. The second brother now, he is someone who's dedicated, someone who's disciplined, someone who, he's a big muscular guy, right? He's a big muscular man. He goes to the gym 6 days a week. He has protein shakes. He has chicken. He blends up the chicken. He is dialed in with his life, yeah? So we've got these two types of guys. Obviously, the second type of guy, he sleeps early. He watches calories, all that stuff, right? To even build that body. Now, I want you to imagine that both of them wake up one day, and what happens is they've both switched bodies. So the skinny guy's brain is now in the muscular guy's body, and the muscular guy's brain is now in the skinny guy's body. Yeah? When they both wake up now, and they both look at themselves in the mirror, they both wake up, they get themselves off the bed and they go to the mirror. If we look at the first brother, the one who's got, he's a skinny man and now he's been put in the muscular guy's body. When he goes up and walks to the mirror, what do you think his reaction will be? Like, what do you think he'll say to himself? He'll be like, whoa, oh my God, I'm so muscular. This is so exciting. I'm so happy. And so where do you think the first place is that he's going to go after he's done looking at himself and admiring himself in the mirror? Well, we know that the first place he's not going to go is the gym. And why is that? It's because the day before, he didn't have any of these habits in place. He wasn't going to the gym. He wasn't watching his calories. He wasn't sleeping on time. He wasn't recovering. He wasn't doing any of these things. And so his day is going to go, okay, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm going to eat snacks. I'm going to go to sleep late. I'm going to play video games. I'm going to be undisciplined. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. And so a guy like that, what do you think his body will look like in a month? What do you think his body will look like in 3 months? In 6 months? Because of his identity, his body will revert back to who he fundamentally is. And now if we look at the second guy, the one who, he was a muscular man and now he's been put into a skinny guy's body. When he gets up from his bed and he looks at himself in the mirror, he's going to be shocked, he's going to be disappointed, he's going to be upset, he's going to be angry. But after he's looked at himself in the mirror, where do you think the first place is that he's going to go? The gym. After he's hit the gym and he comes home, what do you think the first thing he's going to do is? Completely butchered my English there, but what's the first thing he's going to do in that moment? He's going to make a protein shake. He's going to blend up some chicken. He's going to make sure he watches his calories. He's going to get his bulk on. He's going to sleep on time. He's going to get the recovery that he needs. And so what do you think his body will look like after a month? What do you think his body's going to look like after 3 months? After 6 months? He will gain a lot of that muscle back. And so what can this example, what this analogy, this story teach us? It teaches us it doesn't matter where you're starting. It doesn't matter what body you're in. If your identity, if your mindset is the same, is that of a negative mindset, then you will always fall. You have to understand this, my brothers, because if you try to change but you still have the same identity, you will always fall. And so the solution here is complete identity reconstruction. And how do we do this? Identity comes from evidence. It comes from, are you the man that you say you are? Do you believe yourself? So what this means is that you need to stack days of evidence of hard work and being this non-addict person. So for example, the gym brother that we spoke about, he's been going gym for 5 years. Do you think he believes that he's a gym goer? Of course he does. That's his identity. He's got a weightlifting belt. He's got protein powder. He's got creatine. That's who he is, because he's built up the evidence. And so to build this identity, you need to start working hard. You need to start doing hard tasks. Forget the laziness. Forget laying in your bed. Forget rotting away. Whenever you sin, if you do slip up, are you using that as an excuse to relapse twice, to relapse 3 times, to turn that one relapse into 10 days, into a month? Or are you trying to become the disciplined Muslim man who says, okay, let's compare the two men again, one who's an addict and one who's not an addict. Let's say they both they've got the addict's mentality and the non-addict's mentality, yeah? Let's say guy number 1 and guy number 2, they've both had 1 year streak. And by the way, I hate that word. In another video, I'll explain why streaks are stupid. So the first guy, let's say they both have gone 365 days of no relapsing, but they've got 2 different identities. The first guy, he's gone the 1 year and he has a really bad day. Let's say he was really lonely that day. Let's say he was very stressed out from work, whatever excuse he's made up in his mind, whatever bad, maybe someone's passed away, something's happened, right? He got fired from his job, something's happened. Even if Thanos came in front of him and clicked his fingers and he had to relapse, yeah? And so he's relapsed now. What do you think his next reaction will be? And if this is you'll feel like you fit into this category. So when he relapses, he is going to feel negative. He's going to feel sorry for himself. He's going to have a victim mentality. He's going to say, man, I'm back to day zero. I will definitely make a video on why streaks are nonsense. He will say, I'm back to zero now. I'll say, I'm just an addict. I'm just someone who can never break free. Like I've lost hope in Allah. Allah will never let me break free. And so because of this negative approach and this emotional approach, he'll be like, why not relapse again? He relapses a second time, a third time, a fourth time. And his day's gone binge watching because he doesn't know how to react. He doesn't have the identity and the lifestyle and the mindset of a non-addict. And then he's back into the addiction. Now, if we look at guy number 2, the one who's not an addict, let's say he's a very disciplined Muslim man. He's someone who takes gym very seriously, someone who does martial arts, someone who doesn't feel sorry for himself, someone who's a leader, right? Disciplined Muslim man. Let's say maybe one day he has a really bad day. One way or another, he ends up relapsing to pornography. What do you think his response will be? What he will do is he'll say, okay, I made a mistake, I sinned. He'll firstly make tawbah. But then you guys do understand that a requirement of tawbah is to make sure that you never go back to, and you put the right steps and protocols in place to make sure that it never happens again. So what he will do is he will use this Arabic word called muhasaba, which is to study oneself and to reflect. And he'll be like, okay, how did this happen? Okay, did I have a few days where, I might have saw a woman on the TV, on a TV show? Did that trigger me a few days ago? Did I make sure that I wasn't fighting my nafs in this moment? Was I really lonely today? Why is it that I relapsed? He'll take the emotion out of it. And so what will happen is he will learn from his mistake, and he'll close the door to it, and he'll put the right steps in place to make sure, okay, like for example, let's make sure then, next time I do feel lonely, I make sure I reach out to a friend, I make sure I go walk to the masjid, make sure I do whatever it is, right? I'll take the right steps to make sure that it doesn't happen. And do you guys think that he will dwell over it and let it ruin his life, make that one relapse into 2, into 3, into 4? He won't. What he will do is he'll accept that it was a mistake. He's not an angel. Humans are liable to fall. We are able to sin. Of course, I'm not a prophet. You're not a prophet. No one's prophets. No one's angels. We're not infallible. And he understands this. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make tawbah. I'm gonna make sure that I close the door. I'm gonna make sure I can do what I can to make sure I never go back to it. And then he'll move on. He'll get back on his horse. He'll live the disciplined life that he was living. And so what will end up happening is that this one day will turn into 1 in 5 years, 1 in 6, 1 in 10 years. He may relapse again. He may have another bad day, but it's all about the mentality. It's all about the identity. It's about who you believe you are. Because if you feel like an addict, you will always behave like an addict. You will always stay an addict. Like, let me ask you, I was watching this funny video. When was the last time you relapsed to morphine? Let's forget morphine. When was the last time you relapsed to crack? Have you relapsed to crack today? Oh, you haven't? Well done. You've had a 1-day streak of no crack. Have you relapsed this month, brother who's watching? Oh, you haven't relapsed to crack this month? Well done. You are on a 30-day streak of no crack. Have you relapsed for 5 years to crack? Oh, you haven't? Oh, well done. You're on a 5-year streak. Now, let me ask you. You're probably laughing. You're thinking, I don't care about crack. It's not an addiction of mine. I don't even, I haven't had to use any willpower to make sure that I didn't relapse. The reason why is because your identity is someone who doesn't smoke crack. You need to change this, right? We need to change this. And so, I'll probably make a part 2 on the mentality side of things, but this is very important. Very important, and I'll leave you guys with this last final phrase. We call this psychological suicide. I teach this to all my clients, and this really brings the point home of going from one identity, one mentality to the non-addict mentality. You have to kill the current version of yourself. You have to, Because to bring in the new, you have to first delete the old. There can't be two brains, there can't be two minds. You have to kill the old self. And so it really comes down to changing who you are fundamentally. If you've learned one thing from this video, it is change yourself fundamentally. And the final thing I'll use, maybe I'm getting carried away with this video, but the final thing I'll use is this quote, and I love it. For the cat that dreams to be a lion, he must first lose his appetite for rats. I want you guys to understand this.